Sri Lanka Tamil migrants were unlawfully detained for years on the remote British territory of Diego Garcia, a judge has ruled. So it's already good that a judge has ruled that these people were unlawfully detained. And this same judgment should be there should be a provision in this judgment that UK should compensate these migrants who they unlawfully detained in this British territory called Diego Garcia. In 2021, dozens of Tamils became the first people ever to claim asylum on the Indian Ocean island, which is the site of a secretive UK-US military base. They were held for years in a small fenced-off camp before being brought to the UK earlier this month. In what the government described as a one-off move in the interest of their welfare. Reacting to the ruling, lawyer Simon Robinson with UK firm Duncan Lewis representing some of the migrants said, questions need to be answered about how, in the 21st century, this was able to happen. This law firm is totally right, and these same people will turn around and play champions of democracy to third world countries, whereby they are not practicing what they are preaching to this country. So these questions need to be asked. The BBC has contacted the government for comment. The ruling follows a landmark hearing held in a converted chapel on the island in September. The BBC gained unprecedented access to the island and the migrant camp there to cover the proceedings. Diego Garcia is part of the Chagos Islands or British Indian Ocean Territory, an area described as being constitutionally distinct from the UK. It is administered from London by a commissioner based out of the Foreign Office. In their time on the island, the Tamils, including 16 children, were housed in military tents in the fenced camp, which was guided at all times by private security company G4S. Tamils have described their time on the island as like living in hell. It is like an open prison. We were not allowed to go outside. We were just living in a fence and a tent, one woman told the BBC after being brought to the UK with her husband and 2 children this month. During a site visit to the camp in September, the courts saw ribs in some of the tents and rats nestling above military cots that the migrants were given as beds. There were multiple hunger strikes and numerous incidents of self-harm and suicide attempts in response to the conditions in the camp, after which some people were transferred to Rwanda for medical treatment. There were also cases and allegations of sexual assault, harassment within the camp by other migrants, including against children. So, it is now left for this court to make a provision for UK to compensate these people. Because based on what you said, these people's future, in as much as after being detained years in this Diego Garcia island, their future is not even certain to remain in the UK. So there must be a certain sort of compensation for these people. Yes, because they were unlawfully detained. So the court must as well make it a duty to rule or to make it part of its ruling that these people should either be compensated with citizenship or permanent stay or permanent stay minimum. Let it be a form of compensation for them being unlawfully detained by the UK in this island for years.